Good morning, students. How are you all? Hope so you all are fine and watching videos. So kids, in our last class we learned about how animals eat, right? We also saw that on the basis of the food they eat, their teeth pattern and the mouth parts were designed. Clear? We have learned through many examples. In case of, let's have a look into two animals. Okay. Number one, we'll take an example of lion. When you look into the lion, they hunt the animals, they tear the flesh and they eat, right? So their teeth, when you focus, they're having a very sharp pointed teeth in the front. Where in case of lion, it is not required because they were the herbivorous animal, they eat grass, right? So there for them, there is not necessary for the sharp pointed teeth. They are having a flattened teeth. Clear? So in similarly, all the animals teeth pattern and the mouth parts were designed on the basis of the food they eat, right? We learned through a small video in our last session. Today we are going to learn about the very important thing, that is the food chain. Before I start, please see in the screen here, I have wrote one sentence. If there is no grass in the forest, lion will die. What you understood from this statement? Tell me. Yes. If in the forest there were no grass, the lion will die. Why? The lion won't eat grass. Whether the lion will eat grass? No. Then why I wrote like that? The lion will die if there is no grass. Because we know that lion is a carnivorous animals. They eat the meat or flesh of other animals. Right? They hunt and they eat the flesh of other animals. Then how this statement comes true? That might be a question, right? Kids, as we know that lion hunt an animal. Take an example, lion hunt a deer. Okay. Now, what kind of food the deer will consume? Yes, the deer eat leaf, the products which were coming from the plants. Okay. So in case if there were no grass, if there were no plants, what will happen? The deer will die. When the deer will die, ultimately the lion will die, because the lion is depend on the other animals, and those animals will depend on the plant. So this process were called as a food chain, where each and every animals will depend on one another. Okay, clear what I mean to say? So let's take an example. In the screen you can see I have shown one example of the food chain, right? What is that? Yes, plant, snail, bird and fox. See, the plant is eaten by the snail, okay, and the snail in return is eaten by the bird, and the bird is eaten by the fox. So what we have learned from this, the first member of the food chain is the plant. In short, the food chain begins with the plant. What you understood here? The food chain begins with the plant. So it is the entry level of the food chain. So how each and every animal, though it were in carnivorous or omnivorous, they both were depend on herbivorous indirectly. They were interdependent on each other. Clear what I mean to say? So kids, I would like to show you a small video clip where you can see this food chain in a detailed way. Okay, so please watch this video.
Feeding habits of animals. All living things need food to survive. Animals need food to grow, get energy to perform all their activities, and to repair their damaged tissues. Nearly all life in the world is dependent on green plants for food. Green plants have the ability to manufacture their own food. Plants produce, animals consume. Hence, plants are called the producers and animals the consumers. Producers form the first link in the food chain. The food chain represents the transfer of energy from one organism to another. Green plants have the ability to prepare food because they have chlorophyll, a green coloring pigment. Chlorophyll allows plants to absorb light energy from the sun and prepare food using it. Since animals lack chlorophyll, they cannot prepare their own food. Let's look at the food chain from a different perspective. Plants are the primary producers. They produce food for all animals. Animals like deer and goat are called primary consumers because they eat plants directly. Animals like the lion and tiger are called secondary consumers because they eat primary consumers like the deer and goat. Animals like hawk and owl are called tertiary consumers because they eat the secondary consumers. All these animals are thus dependent on the green plants, the producers. As you can see here, in nature too, the number of organisms goes on reducing as we move up the food pyramid. The population of producers or green plants is more than that of the tertiary consumers.
Okay kids, did you watch the video? Well, what you have learned from the video? Yes, we learned about the food chain through various examples. We also learned about the term producer. As we know, the food chain starts with the plant, right? And other animals depend on the plant. You know kids, plants have the ability to make their own food. Hence they were called as a producer. Clear what I said? Alright. Now I request you to open your MyPedia app, come to chapter number 3, page number 25. There you can see about the food chain. Okay. In the screen I have displayed you. Please see. There is a unique balance in nature because of the difference in the food habits of animals. Plants can make their own food using air, water and sunlight. So they were all called as a producer. Herbivorous eat green plants. Carnivorous can either eat herbivorous or carnivorous. This setup of chain, who eats whom in nature, this chain, that shows how plant can be eaten by animals, then animals are eaten by other animals is called as a food chain. In any food chain, a plant that is a producer is always at the first level. Next page, you can see an example there. In the food chain, a grass is a plant. It makes its own food. The deer eats the grass and the lion eats the deer. So this is a food chain. Here also you can see the entry level. That is the first phase is the plant. Another example is grass is eaten by the grasshopper. And the grasshopper is eaten by the frog. Frog is eaten by a snake and the snake in return is eaten by the hawk. So here it is a small example of the food chain. Clear? Now come to the next page, page number 26. You can see animals and plants depend on each other. That's very important. There are many ways in which animals and plants depend on each other. Some of them are mentioned below. Number 1. Animals get their food from plants. When plants make a food, they give out oxygen in air. Animals use this oxygen for breathing. When animals breathe out, they give out the carbon dioxide. Plant uses carbon dioxide to make their food. Trees are home to many animals and birds. So here you can see how they were interdependent on each other. Clear dear? Alright. Okay kids, before I wind up, let's have a quick recap of our today's session. So today we learned about the food chain. Kids, we learned through various examples and videos. A plant is the entry level, is the first level in the food chain. Well, hence it can make their own food, hence it is called as a producer. It is eaten by the other animal. Just take an example, a deer. A deer eat a plant or grass, okay, and in return the deer is eaten by the lion. So in short, the lion is indirectly depend on plant. Though the lion won't eat plant, but it is indirectly depend on plant. So this process is called as a food chain. Did you understood? As usual, I used to give you a task. So today's task is, in the screen you can see there are 5 fill in the blanks and the clues were given at the top. Kindly solve this and write the answers in your draft book. Okay kids? Well, in our next video we will learn about the wild animals and domestic animals, how to take care of those animals. Till then, bye bye.